Oh, sorry about that. I thought this was recording. Damn it. It wasn't, but all I did, just to recap, I'm so sorry about that, guys. I just used Roxy, the optimized version of Roxy, and I scattered them around. Yeah, nothing too crazy. I just changed the scale and stuff. Okay, but you know, again, as you guys like can start to see, and I'll throw in some extra meshes and stuff so we can start to see this, but the landscaping, the layering of everything can really start to help a ton. And on a total like important note, when you guys are doing this, when you guys are making like these big vistas and that kind of stuff, that's pretty cool. There's no collision on these, which is fine actually. In some cases, you really wouldn't want collision on them because that would be a fucking nightmare to trans through or walk through. Um, but you know, be careful with your light mapping and stuff because sometimes that can take it can really hammer the computer pretty heavily. So I'm going to go ahead and rebuild this really quick, and hopefully the light mapping and stuff won't crap out. Okay, and there's the build lighting, and it looks pretty good. Yeah, let me kind of walk around for a second. Oh my god. Okay. Now, so a couple things. Obviously, we can go into this terrain shader here, and you know, like up close, it still falls apart, even though they're using like huge maps right now because I haven't optimized them. But let's go ahead and look at the landscape material here and see what we can do. So on our, what the hell is that? Oh, that's the wrong material. I'm like, what? Let's go into this guy really quick. And let's go ahead and do detail. Detail. Let's go ahead and grab our normal. Let's go ahead and put a scalar value in there for the normal intensity. Put this to like 2. That's going to be pretty intense, but whatever. Another one for our scale right there. Put that to maybe like 8. Okay, and let's go ahead and find a detail texture in here. We can probably pull from. I'm sure if I just type detail in the content folder, I will get something. And these are not mine. These are from Epic, so they're going to be good. Actually, some of these are mine. This one I think is mine. We'll see how this looks. All right, detail intensity or detail normal. Okay, now remember, this won't let me do this if it's a 2D texture, right? So we got to convert it. Convert to texture object. Bam! Let's plug our normal map into that. We're good to go into the world of normal. Oh, we are not good. That is not good, David. Maybe we're okay. Let's see it. On a total side note, I am so excited. The Skyrim remaster has been announced for the PS4 and Xbox One. I'm going to date the hell out of this tutorial, but I don't give a shit. I love me some Skyrim. Oh, this is going to suck because I can't see this on the fly. Oh, you know what? Let's just make this crazy looking. Yeah, it's plugged into the normal. And I'm just going to set this to like 2. That's one of the negatives about these landscape textures is they can get really big really fast. And they obviously every time you have to compile and stuff, and I got a pretty fast rig and it does bog you down even if it's a minute or 2 a piece. Whoa, slow down, homie. Yep. Just kind of walk right into that. There it is. That's insane. So let's fix that. I'm going the wrong way with the detail texturing. 0.1. It's like a micro texture. It's like enhance. And these detail textures on landscapes, like save them, by the way. Like this is the thing that really does like help drive them. So if I can get this to work, it's gonna, it's a little big. You can see it there, it's a little big. Let's keep going, maybe 0.5. Low-res areas, I would not rebuild this terrain. I would start actually making meshes that are gonna like be shoved into this, so like cliff rocks and stuff. We're getting closer. Let's go. Let's go just a little bigger, like 0.8, and let's go a little bit more intense. Let's go like 2. And I'm just guessing here. I don't know if this is gonna work or not. So like we'll just see. We'll learn together. It's kind of a lot of back and forth, you know, like a lot of iteration, a lot of looking at it, a lot of, you know, just being patient. Okay, now let's see how that looks. Let me just save that guy. And obviously the end all be all is how it looks in here. It's still a little small, I think. I'm going to go bigger. I should probably look at it from this angle. That's probably a little better. Mega scans. All right, put it in there. Where did I put it? Oh, yeah, in mega scans. Where the hell is my terrain folder? There it is. It's in alphabetical order. It's not moving on me. Let's go a little larger, maybe like 1.2. And I don't know if we'll need to go more intense if we go bigger, so let's just see how this looks. And again, we could add, you know, diffuse detailing, but I think the normal detail is going to give us enough. I don't think we need to deal with that too much. Okay, so it's there, but it's not screaming enough, so let's make it scream. Again, it's so hard to get perspective on this, right? Because you're looking at it, and we're not even making the shader that complicated. We can do distance checks to blend out textures and stuff, and all kinds of stuff. But again, that starts to get a little bit more advanced, and honestly, I don't think it's necessary for an intro class to go in and do that. I don't think it's a reasonable expectation for me to be like, hey, go ahead and do distance checks and start doing lerp blends and all that, so we can, you know, really fill this out. You know, it's, you know, there's already like a bajillion hours of content here, so. And you got to be careful, like, because I'm probably going to run right into this when this compiles. It's going to look really, really noisy. So you want to be careful with that, right? Like you don't, it's a balance, but you want enough like detail in there that surface kind of reads. And I think we're heading there. Like you know, pretty actually happy with the way this is going. Like honestly, like the rocks are honestly starting to look lower res. And the way obviously we'd fix that is just doing the same detailing. So let's actually take this little detail node, just those two, save that. Let's go ahead and throw them on the rocks, and obviously the scale is going to need to be different. But you know, and this is literally the process, guys. Just go back and forth, like, and we have fun with it. Like we stay loose, and it's not really that big of a deal, right? Like we're not getting too uptight about anything. I tend to really, like I said, I always try to work really loose. It also makes it like I find like people want to work with you a little better. Like if you're kind of like OCD anal, like people don't want to work with you. Like you kind of turn into a dick. So you know, like at least I find that. Like I understand like the need to like, oh, this is a pipeline, it's got to work a certain way, all of that. Trust me, get it, totally understand it. But there is something to be said for like wanting to work around the guy, like, or girl that you're with. You know, like if everyone's like walking on eggshells or they're scared to make a mistake, it makes for a really like just shitty work environment. So it's too small? I can't even tell. Oh no, it's on there. But let's make it scream. Whenever I say that, I'm like I always think of the Iron Maiden album where it's like "Scream for me, Brazil." It's cool. Rock in Rio, great album. Not a big fan of live albums except for Maiden. Yeah, so that helps. So as I was saying, for like areas like this, and let's make it so it doesn't take me a million hours to walk over there. For like areas like this that are really low res, um, obviously we can go back in here. We can do some things, right? We can just like literally straight up go in, and I'm gonna like push this tool strength way down. I'm gonna save this, and I'm gonna adjust the size, not that low. But we can kind of smooth it out, which is definitely something that you'd probably want to do. And you can see the assets are updating, by the way, which, hell yeah. So, you know, we'll just kind of smooth it out. But you got to be careful, right? Like, obviously that's wrong. Like, we don't want to do that. The other thing that I could recommend that you do is you can actually build rocks, right? Like rocks and cliff faces and kind of put them on here. And obviously decals, if you want to blend stuff into the surface, decals are the way to do it, okay? And we talked a little bit about decals earlier, so I'm not going to drive too much home on that. Obviously, if you do any terrain changes, you will have to rebuild it, though. But again, you know, like, this feels pretty good. Like, obviously we need some effects, we need some dust blowing, but, you know, I could definitely see, you know, crunch, that would kill you. But, you know, I could see this in the game, right? Like, I could see, you know, pretty reasonably, you know, kind of wanting to walk around and explore this environment, right? Like, this is pretty cool. And that just killed my guy. So, oh, did it kill it, or? Yeah, it's like, yeah, he like super died. Because I went like below the grid. You saw the grid, it just passed me. Go find it again. Ah, it's irrelevant. There it is, saw it again. So a couple things. If you really just want to play around with some stuff, obviously we can definitely add some more assets, and I might add a few more assets in here just for the trailer to kind of show this thing off a little bit. I don't know yet. We're getting kind of pressed for time when I got to release this thing. So, but let's go in and look at some post processing a little bit more really quick, just not too crazy. Oh yeah, and make sure you escape out of that tool if you try to select something, it won't let you do it. And let's go ahead and look at contrast and just kind of globally adjust this guy. And I always like to kind of drop in and look at it, okay, because, I mean, pretty quickly you can start to, you know, go too far with it, so, but around there is not too bad. So what else we got here? Let's look at the bloom, the most overused thing in all of video games. And we're going to do the exact same thing right now. Cool. Okay. And a dirt mask always looks kind of nice. Let's see here if I have one. Let's see. You know what I might just do, just to be lazy? I don't recommend you do what I'm about to do. Don't yell at me. I'm a sensitive boy. All right, dirt mask. I just threw little rock in there. That's fine. Yeah. No, that's not what you want, but something in there to break it up. And we got the chromatic aberration. That's already on there. A little bit of vignetting. And I think we're pretty good. Let's go ahead and find the in this post-processing. Let's look for indirect intensity. That's not really going to matter too much for this because we're not really indoors. And then I think a lot of it's going to be just playing around with this directional light, right? Like really trying to get the shadows and stuff to kind of look the way we'd like. Oh, by the way, all of your grid snaps are up here. I think I said it. Hopefully I have at some point. All of your grid snaps and stuff are up there. So if you want to kind of just dial this in a little bit more, you know, feel free to take it off the grid snaps. Okay. And yeah, guys, so like I said, I might add a few assets in here, but I'm pretty happy with where this is right now. I think this gives you guys a pretty good solid base to kind of jump off on. Just be really careful when you're constructing your landscape stuff, guys, because it will crash on you, and it crashes all the effing time. And I'm not just saying that to like scare you or be like, ooh, you know, screw Unreal. No, Unreal's an awesome engine. This feature though is buggy as hell, and it's cool when it works, man. Like, I mean, it looks like we're on some type of alien planet. It took like 20 minutes to do the damn thing. It's just amazing. So yeah, have fun with it, and okay, guys. Uh, Next time you see this level, there will probably be some rocks and stuff jutting out of the surface. If it looks too drastically crazy, I'll put another video in just to show you guys the differences in the space. But yeah, thanks for watching. Okay, guys, so I didn't go too crazy with this. I just kind of went in and put some rocks in, threw a couple decals on that aren't really that noticeable, added a lens flare. Let me just show you the post process for the lens flare here. This is just literally using Unreal's default lens flare. You can also make your own if you want, but that's outside of what we're going to be doing here. So bokeh, there's the size. The bokeh, if I adjust this here, this size, it's going to tighten that thing. The bokeh, those little effects there. So, you know, just keep that in mind. And yeah, you can do a bunch of different things. You can upload different masks and stuff. It's pretty cool, but default's plenty for this. You know, and again, this kind of terrain-based workflow, you know, I'm not sure how larger games like Battlefield or those kind of games do, because I've never actually worked on a game like Battlefield or anything like that. But I've done a couple games where you know, it's kind of hard at first, but if you can convince the designer to kind of jump in, learn a bit of World Machine, and play around with stuff, you can get really, really far with your terrain stuff. Because, I mean, again, you know, this is like 4 assets, right? We have 2 different kinds of rocks. We have the terrain, and then we have like one big rock, and obviously the particles and that kind of stuff. The particles were not mine, though, by the way. I got them off of the Unreal Marketplace. Let me just see if I can... Where did I get these? Is it going to show it? Of course it's not. Not when the video's up. It's this guy right here, 50 vector particles. And there's a bunch of really good ones, and they're really nice to actually go through and look at. So I would check them out because they're really good. And I modified these a little bit out of their default sets. But again, the particles aren't really something we're going to talk about in this. But again, you know, like as you guys can see, you can go pretty far with this. And, you know, this environment's obviously not done. But, you know, we could really, you know, pretty basic, you know, pretty quickly, we could really go pretty far with it. And the nice thing about, you know, relying on, you know, these kind of the landscape textures, even though it is a pain, and yes, it is unstable, and yes, it does crash often when you're doing it. But once you kind of get this, you're pretty good. I mean, again, Camtasia's killing my frame rate, so you're going to have to take my word for it. But, you know, you can go pretty far with it, and you can play with a lot of things with it. So it's really nice. I really encourage you guys to do it. And it's pretty straightforward to do. And again, if we look back, let's come back to the content here. Oh, sorry. Let's go all the way back up. Sorry, I'm on my other monitor really quick. I'm just opening up some windows so you guys can see something. So we look back at this guy. I mean, we didn't go too crazy. And again, the placement's random, which is kind of what you'd want for this. But I mean, 2 or 3 rock types, adjusting the scale, and then again, if you really want to get into it, not even if you really want to get into it, if you just want to play around with it, you can obviously paint, you know, where you want to go with this stuff. So let me just actually find the layer. There you go. So now we can have a few more rocks, right? Obviously, I've shown you guys that before, but it's still nice to talk about because, you know, with this stuff, like, you can do a whole slew of things, and this just isn't about, you know, arting stuff. Like, this starts to dive into gameplay stuff. You can like lead people through paths and all kinds of stuff without really doing a ton of work. And again, because Unreal is kind of focused around both art and game stuff and not just tech, it allows you to do a bunch of things really quickly. If I move that terrain, all of that stuff's going to grow with it, right? Which we showed earlier, but it's good to iterate it, to mention again, because it's really powerful. So hopefully you guys got something out of this. I'm trying to pack as much art-related stuff into this as I can. If you guys are interested in how I sculpted the rocks, I'm not trying to sell you a bunch of crap, but I did go over it in my 3D coat, or no, a rock. I actually did it for my rock tutorial. So I wasn't going to incorporate it in this just because it's overkill for those of you guys who've seen it already. And yeah, you know, I hope you guys enjoy stuff. Obviously, I didn't go through and art every aspect of this terrain. It would be a huge waste of time, just because it's not going to be needed for me showing you this little tiny space. Some things to talk about though, like if you guys wanted to go in and let's say you were really happy with this and you're like, oh, I want to make a screenshot of this and send it off. There's a bug in Unreal. So let's talk about said bug. Under this tab right here, let's just pretend like we're going to frame this nicely. So I don't know, try and find something. Okay, let's say we're, oh, that looks like shit. There we go, something that doesn't look much better, but whatever. Let's say we're happy with this. We're like, this is the magical shot. If we wanted to, we could go under here and go under high resolution screenshot. Now, typically this will work fine. You just set this to maybe 2 or 3x, and then you can downres it. That's a way of doing anti-aliasing, is you basically render like 2 or 3 times larger than what you'd want, and then you downres it. If you go too much higher than that, even depending on your graphics card, it could crash your computer. The other issue is with the landscapes. These rocks and stuff have lighting on them. Once I take that high resolution screenshot, it breaks, and then it takes the screenshot. It breaks the lighting on the actual asset. So at least it does it for me. I've tried it 50 different times, and I looked online. There's a bunch of issues for it. So keep that in mind if you guys want to do it. If you want to take a screenshot of it, you can do the cheap way that I do, is just, do, one of the snip tools and call it good. But again, it depends on what you're after. And yeah, again, sorry about the recording issues, guys. It's, I can't stress enough how this is going to be the last time I use Camtasia until they put the 64-bit in. This has just been absolutely unacceptable. Spend a substantial amount of money on a new computer and it can't even run a basic software. Story of my life. But yeah, man, I hope you guys really enjoyed this and I hope you got something out of it. I wasn't initially going to go over this stuff just because it's not crazy complicated, but it can be kind of a pain in the ass, especially with the editor constantly crashing and stuff. But once you get past the crashing and you kind of get like that, remember I showed you, I made that little section of it and kind of arted it and kind of got the thing going. And then I increase the size, you tend to be a little bit better off, but you just have to be patient with it and just expect that if you're going to go through and do this, it's going to crash on you like a bajillion effing times, okay? So yeah, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this, and we're just going to keep on going. All right, talk to you.